What's up, y'all? My name's Dallas. I'm with anim.mind on Instagram and coming to other various social media platforms. Out here today, we're at the Thornebrook Art Festival. Gonna go around, talk to some artists, do some interviews, see what their inspirations are, see if they feel art positively impacts them on a deep level. Let's get this shit. Hello.
Hello.
What's your name?
Jay Winter Collins.
Jay Winter Collins. Do you have any social media or websites?
I do. I have Facebook, Instagram. I have websites, jaywintercollins.com, and I'm on Redbubble. I have a Redbubble store. If you've not heard of that before, it's a print-on-demand company that does ethically sourced products. So.
Okay. How long have you been doing the Thornebrook Art Festival?
I think this is my fifth year.
Your fifth year?
It's only like my seventh year doing art festivals. So.
Okay. It's my second year being here, and I love the vibe here so far.
This is one of my favorites.
But main questions I want to ask is, what inspires you to create art?
I have created art since I was a little child.
Like particular or just
in Florida, I am very inspired by our skies.
Yeah.
I came from the Pacific Northwest where it was mountains that were kind of triggered my love of the beauty of nature. And then when I came to Florida, I was kind of disappointed that there were no mountains, but then I realized God, we have the most beautiful skies here. We get such gorgeous cumulus clouds. And
yeah. I feel like we get a lot more intense colors than places out west.
Especially any place north, it's because we're closer to the equator, we're getting more direct sun and we're having fewer of the, I can't remember if it's longer or shorter waves that get filtered out. So the colors actually do appear brighter here, and they appear more blues and muted in the up in the Pacific Northwest.
So you say you're very much inspired by your environment and nature?
That, yes. And I also teach school, so I'm inspired by the children I teach.
Okay. All right. Do you think there are any mental or emotional benefits to creating art?
Oh, absolutely. I am bipolar. This definitely helps me. I call them happy paintings. I'm happiest when I am painting. I'm medicated for bipolar disorder, so I'm like the poster child. You wouldn't know I'm bipolar, but definitely when I feel myself, if I haven't been painting for a while, I will feel off.
Yeah.
And I know that I need to get into the studio. So.
Yeah, kind of like.
And when I say a while, I mean if I go 3 days without painting, I start getting a little off.
Start getting a little off. So it's kind of like a meditative thing for you?
Absolutely.
I think it helps you with
time
that.
goes by, it just sort of floats when I'm painting.
Yeah,
you know?
and you get calm, your heart rate lowers, all that. All right. Well, this has been a good interview. I appreciate you taking the opportunity to have us. All right, what's your name?
Wes Lindberg.
Do you have any social media or websites you like to
I
plug?
do have an Instagram and I have Facebook as well. I have a few other ones, but basically I go by Wesley Ray on all of those.
All right, what kind of art do you make?
Mostly light painting, photography, so they're long exposures. I like to capture the movement and the light in an image. I have done the infrared, which is behind me here, and I have some display here as well, which is another way to capture the light. So photography primarily.
Yeah, I saw some guy here last year named Krause. I think he does that as well.
Yeah, he's been doing infrared,
infrared
for a few years. I've been doing it about 35 or 40 years.
All right.
Yeah.
How many years have you been doing this?
Coming here at Thornebrook has probably been about 15 years or so.
15 years?
Yep, yeah.
What inspires you to make a lot of art?
Well, I think it's probably capturing that magic that others can, share in.
Yeah, the atmosphere.
The atmosphere, the feeling, And that's why playing with the light to try to actually, capture those moments that are magical. and that someone looks at that image and they're like, they can feel it, they can
get
see
the
it.
feeling that you felt when you were taking it.
Exactly.
That's exactly how I feel when I take like pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think there are any emotional or mental benefits to making art on a regular basis?
Absolutely. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, everyone's creative, and everyone ought to do something with their creativity, because I think it's great for mental health. Absolutely. And certainly there's times when you're not inspired, and you're kind of like, oh, I can't create, I can't do anything. Then you just get out in the world and look at things, and it comes to you, and then you're inspired, and you go back and make art again. It's kind of like that cycle of up and down that we go through,
Yeah.
So I think, if it's like you're feeling really dark, get outside and look around, check out what's going on, make some art, capture some images, that kind of thing. So absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you for allowing us to interview you.
You're welcome.
What's your name?
Linda Krause.
Linda Krause. All right, what kind of art do you make?
I make fiber art, and so basically if you imagine a painting on the wall except it's made out of fabric, that would be kind of me. So sometimes I paint, sometimes I use Inktense pencils, sometimes I use dyes, and now that we've gone through all that, you can call it an art quilt. But I don't say quilt in the beginning because my work never goes near a bed.
All right. Do you have any social medias or websites you'd like to plug?
Oh, well, I have a Facebook page, Blue Flag Studio Linda Krause.
All right. What is kind of the drive or something that inspires you to make these quilt paintings?
I love the feeling that I get from being in nature, and I love birds and trees, and I used to be a ranger at the prairie. And so I've really been into that stuff for a long time, and so I pretty much incorporate that in my work. If you look at my work, you don't see any man things in any of it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of basically what I really love.
All right. Do you think there are any emotional or mental net positives from creating art on a regular basis?
Oh, absolutely. So if I don't know, I was depressed one day and I didn't feel like going down to the studio. I didn't feel like doing anything. And I just decided I was just going to kind of force myself to go for 15 minutes. And I went down there, and within that amount of time, I was just completely happy. And I ended up spending hours. And it just feels so good always to do the working. And it's pretty much no matter which kind of work it is, if I'm stitching on the sewing machine, or if I'm painting a piece of fabric, or if I'm designing a piece, it's all very therapeutic.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for up and coming artists or people who just want to get out there?
Well, I guess it depends. It depends on what kind of art you want to do. You might want to look at the different mediums and see what you'd like. I started out in nature photography, but I would say photography is probably not the best thing to do now because people have, cameras on their phones, and and the quality of images taken that way have improved so much. But so it would be look at what medium and why do you want to do it? Is it something that you just want to do for a hobby so that you can feel better? I would say that doing art shows is a tremendous amount of work. It's basically like moving every time you do one.
Yeah.
And there are large booth fees that you have to pay, so you have to make all that back before you begin to make any money. So you have to really think about and examine why you want to get into it.
Yeah, make that cost benefit analysis.
Absolutely.
How'd you mentioned you were a ranger at
At
Prairie?
Payne's Prairie, yeah.
How'd you enjoy that?
Well, there were some really great things about that job. What I loved about that job was, given the bird hikes and, talks about prescribed fire and, all of that kind of stuff was great, but that was a very small part of the job.
Yeah.
A lot of the job is cleaning bathrooms and cleaning up down trees and things like that. So, that's like 80% of the job.
Yeah.
So, if you want to be, that advice is easy. If you want to be a ranger, be an interpretive ranger, and you got to do that with the National Park Service, not with the state.
Did you enjoy like going out towards the prairie though? Like, did you just like being in that environment?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I mean, and that's what I was doing. That's how I got started in doing art.